Hello and welcome to another episode of 7 Minutes of Precision. Today, my guest is a competitive shooter in PRS and other types of shooting. I have with me today Adam Bach in the show. Adam, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Doing good, man. How are you?
Very good. So, you're in BC, right?
I am in BC, yes.
How's the weather over there? Is it getting cold yet?
Cur Currently, it's starting to get colder now, 5, 6 degrees in the morning, but yeah, it's starting to chill out, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right. So, Adam, we have met not this year, the year before at the Apex PRS match.
Got it.
Uh, and we did spend what 3 hours in the airport. Your flight was like
Something like that. Yeah,
delayed
absolutely.
like three times that night.
Yep. Yep.
All
Just
right,
about.
yeah. So Adam, I know that you do a lot of different types of shooting or different domains of shooting. We can call it that. So I know that you do PRS. Do you do NRL as well?
I do shoot NRL, yes.
Okay. All
NRL and
right.
PRSs.
So before we get into the other stuff, tell me a little bit what is the differences between PRS and NRL?
So an NRL is based on ranges typically from 100 yards and in. There are
Okay.
two options in the NRL game, typically like an option one and an option two. Um, Typically, option one is 100 yards and in, and basically they just extrapolate the size of the targets that you're expected to hit. And then for ranges that do have the capacity to shoot longer distances, the option two typically goes 100 yards and beyond. So it just
Okay.
allows us to shoot the same MOA size targets with a smaller physical range. So people aren't traveling great distances to go to ranges that have 200 plus yards to work with. So
And the
yeah.
100 yards and in, is that only 22?
It is only 22. Yep. 22 long
Okay.
rifle, and we are shooting at targets as small as like a quarter inch
Hmm.
diameter.
And matches that are 100 and above, I guess center fire is also available.
Centerfire is available. It's harder to find those in the lower mainland just because there's not a lot of ranges available to me that pushes out two, three, 400 yards. And of course, that's what you're going to need for
Hmm.
a decent center fire match. There are a few that are done every year. MDT is putting on some very cool ones that we participated in this year. The MDT Midsummer Madness. They were shooting out of Merritt out to 1,117 yards was the furthest target that we were engaging for that match. I'm hoping they're going to be putting on a few more of those every year to just kind of stretch the legs in the center fire game. But in the lower
Hmm.
mainland, I'm seeing a huge uptick in the 22 game because it's a little bit easier to get to, and you can certainly have a weekend match and not a dedicated match that you need to do a lot of traveling and then have hotels or camping the night to enjoy your time there. So it's
Yeah, that's fair enough.
definitely exploding for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Especially like I think the problem we have in Quebec and Ontario is even if we have the land, it's usually full of trees. So actually having open land to shoot those distances is quite challenging to find this land.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, and with the Midsummer Madness, was there a weight restriction on the rifle or no?
If there was one, I wasn't aware of it. I know I was using
Okay.
my 260, which is a 26-pound rifle. I'm not
Hmm.
sure where that sits in regards to it being a light and or heavy rifle. I've never heard of anything that's weight restriction wise, but I've also never had an issue with it, so it's never really come up in any conversations.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So now that's PRS and NRL. What else? What kind of other competitions do you shoot?
Well, I started my shooting endeavor in IDPA, which is International Defensive Pistol Association. That was kind of
Hmm.
my first kick at the cat at anything competition wise in the lower mainland. Are you familiar with IDPA?
Not much. I've seen
Not
some videos, but not much. Not like I don't know the
so,
rules and all these kind of things.
right. So yeah, IDPA is typically based on the American concealed carry. So basically,
Hmm.
you're gonna have an overcoat of something or a buttoned-up shirt covering your holstered pistol, and of course an additional mag carrier that holds two mags. So a typical course of fire is going to be no more than three magazines. There is a scenario up front that's given to you, and of course an array of targets in an order that you have to shoot them. And sometimes you have priority sequences based on how you are tackling that course of fire. and then
Hmm.
on the buzzer you just kind of do your thing and you get a score based on how accurate you were. So I mean it's a very low barrier of entry. It's of course requires a pistol and three magazines and a decent holster and a carrier for the magazines. Um, don't
What
need
kind
anything
of
super.
is there a specific training that you have to pass by, like black badge or something, so you're able to carry your pistol on a holster and actually compete in these competitions?
So when I did my first match, they basically pulled me aside and did like a very quick holster qualifying course with me right there. So it was included in the actual range day that I was there. So for the 20, 30 minutes of holster instruction that I had, they kind of watched me come in and out of the holster and saw that I had some pretty decent experience coming into that. So once
Hmm.
once they kind of gave me the sign off that I was okay to holster for the day. And then, of course, I completed the day without any kind of disqualification or any kind of safety concerns. That was kind of the check mark that I needed to put onto my name to consider me holster qualified for IDPA. Now, if that's changed or not in the past 15 years since I started that, I'm not 100% sure, but that was my training that I got for holster qualification for IDPA.
And right now, are there IDPA matches that happen in Canada?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, very
Okay.
very much so. Chilliwack hosts quite a bit of IDPA matches. It is still flourishing with the people that obviously have pistols and have the capabilities of still using theirs. Um, of course, getting new people into that sport is the issue that we're all facing right now because
Yeah.
unless you have a friend that has a pistol that you can go to the range with them, the barrier of entry because of what's happening currently is going to be the most challenging part. But we're still trying to get people out, that's for sure.
Yeah, so just if some people are not following what's happening with handguns, so right now there's a handgun freeze, which means
Yes.
you cannot buy new pistols or handguns. You cannot sell what you already have. And even if you have the restricted license, if you haven't acquired a handgun before, you're unable at the moment to get a handgun, correct?
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. So if you have one, you can still use it. Um, of course, acquiring a new one is just not possible at this moment.
Hmm.
Which of course makes it hard because I want nothing more than to bring out people and say, here, use my pistols. But then, of course, you always have to ask yourself, if something does break, are replacement parts even available in Canada anymore? So it's a daunting time right now, but we're still trying to get as many people out as we can and enjoy it like we should be able to, right?
Okay. And now, is there like an IDPA international website that says what are the rules, where you can find competitions and things like this?
Very much so. They have a full print up of all their rules. It's all online. Um, it is available for someone looking to get into IDPA as a primary, you know, shooting sport for them.
And to find matches around you, is it Practice Score that is usually the website where all the matches happen?
Primarily, yeah. Typically, it's
Okay.
mostly on practice score. A lot of the Facebook groups for like Chilliwack, for example, or the local gun ranges will post them on there as well, and then they'll give you the
Hmm.
link to practice score to sign up for the actual match. So it's pretty user friendly, and I think a lot of different matches or a lot of different style matches are starting to go to practice score just for how easy it is.
Yeah.
And that's probably the easiest way to find any kind of matches happening in your area.
Hmm. So that's IDPA. After IDPA, where did the shooting decided to take you?
Well, after IDPA, I really enjoyed what I was doing, but I knew I kind of wanted to do more. So I kind of looked around to see what was available, and I always found that the hardest thing is kind of knowing or not knowing what you don't know and figuring
Yeah.
out what else is available to you. So after asking some questions and talking to some people, I was introduced to DSS, which is dynamic sports shooting.
Hmm.
So dynamic sports shooting takes everything that IDPA is and adds a rifle and a shotgun component to it. So we
Okay.
do two gun or three gun style matches, and it's just adding another element of complexity because you're managing your ammo for multi platforms. You're figuring out where to put that ammo on your person to effectively do your mag changes, and then of course that introduces different rules based on different platforms that you are going to be using. Of course, we have very stringent rules that we must follow, like not breaking 90, no finger on the trigger during magazine changes, no having your muzzle any higher than the berm, things of that nature. So there is we call it the case course. It's a qualifying course that all of our shooters must take. It is a 6 hour course that we do put on for our shooters, and it just makes
Hmm.
sure that everybody's at the same level when it comes to the safety element of this.
Yeah.
And once you pass that case course, you're qualified forever essentially, and you can come out and enjoy any of the matches that they put on. So kind of found DSS, and through that I slowly start to get involved with the board of directors. I've been on the board of directors now for at least 3 4 years, and worked my way up from vice president last year to president of DSS this year. And again, we're just trying to get people out, get a firearm in their hand, do a little bit of running and gunning, and just genuinely having fun with other like-minded individuals in the community. So
Hmm.
been highly involved with DSS. We have our Halloween match coming up this weekend, so we're gonna have everybody in Halloween costumes running around, just having a great old time. And I mean, that's that at this point, that's what it's all about. We're trying to put some smiles on faces in what we think is a gloomy time with the firearms that we have to our disposal, and
Yeah.
we're just trying to make the best of the scenario that we are currently working with.
Yeah. So two gun and three gun. Two gun is usually a pistol and a shotgun, or is it a rifle?
We've done it both ways. We've done pistol rifle courses, or excuse
Hmm.
me, pistol rifle matches. We've done pistol shotgun matches. It's all over the place. It's whatever the match director feels like putting on, and then of course we
Hmm.
take a look at what props we have available based on what range we're going to be shooting at, and then we build the entire stages based on the platforms of firearm we're going to be using. So it can change, two gun or three gun. It's all over the place. Whatever the match director wants.
So when you say DSS, are you only managing matches in BC or the West or all over Canada?
EC at this moment, we are trying to make our approach to this a little bit more cookie cutter, where it can be replicated and brought out
Hmm.
east. It is
Hmm.
still, obviously we are the amount of people that we have signing up for these matches have unfortunately greatly reduced with the limited capacity of firearms that people have. And I truly understand where they're coming from. Myself as well, people have invested thousands of dollars into platforms that they're no longer able to use, and they don't want to
Yeah.
invest more money into platforms that they don't know is going to be available to them in the upcoming week. So I truly know where they're coming from, but it is the way that we've kind of developed this. It is something that someone else or a different entity could take and replicate it and start something, you know, Eastern Canada if that's something that they chose to do. So that is the vision, that is the goal, and we're just putting our best foot forward at this moment and trying to fill out these matches the best we can.
Hmm. And how did it change with like obviously you guys are facing a lot of challenges with like handgun bans that change from time to time and things are being added to the list. So how did you try to adapt this to the current gloomy situation, like you say?
Well, historically, DSS has always been, 223 caliber AR-15s and things of that nature, right? We have slowly
Hmm.
adapted to pistol caliber carbines. We have accepted that as something that people can bring in, and we're at the point right now where we don't care if it's a 22 long rifle, 9 mil 223 pump action, lever action. We basically have everything show up now, right? Whereas 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we would never see someone show up with a lever action to compete. And I have friends that are showing up with M1 Garands shooting 30 odd sticks. I built a lever action 38 special just to have something that's relatively quick on the clock. And we've opened it up to 22 long rifle. So it's a relatively cheap entry to have a platform that's viable for this type of shooting. And we've just massaged the scoring element based on the firearm that you're bringing to the match, right? So we may have an individual shoot a target at 75 yards with the 22, and if it's a 223 or above, that target may be 125 yards, right? So it's just
Hmm.
we're trying to make it as fair as we possibly can. It's never going to be perfect, but I mean, we're doing it for the love of the sport and hoping that everybody understands we are doing the best that we can, and trying to make it as fair as possible for everybody, right?
Hey guys, real quick, have you seen our new ARS mag holster for AICS magazines? It features our new auto retention system, meaning you don't need to manually adjust retention of your mag holster anymore. All you have to do is grab your mag, put it in the holster, push straight down, and you got all the retention that you need. If you'd like to learn more about the features of this mag hoster, click the link right up here and it will take you to our video going over all its features. And if you're listening to Spotify, you'll find the link of that video in the description down below. Now, let's get back to the podcast. Yeah. And do you have another, like, is there another organization in the US that does the same exact thing? Are you connected or you're separate? Kind of, I'm trying to think like in the PRS, it's kind of one organization that controls the rules for everything. Is it kind of the same thing or it's not kind of different?
Well, no, we have no affiliates. DSS is DSS. It was literally created by a bunch of like-minded individuals, call it 15 years ago, and they
Hmm.
literally were putting guys together and gals and putting on a case course, putting everybody through that competency day, and shooting matches ever since in the Lower Mainland. So it is not something that is followed in the States or even Eastern Canada. It's kind of our own little internal thing that we do. But because we have a case course, of course, we do that for insurance purposes because obviously we need to have all that stuff squared away. And it's been highly successful because we have a structured program for our shooters that they need to
Hmm.
complete before competing with us.
Yeah, that especially is really good to see because I think accidents are more prone to happen with a handgun, especially. It's kind of easy to point at every direction compared to a rifle. It's a little bit harder to like point it everywhere.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
do you know if there are any other organizations in other provinces in Canada that kind of do the same two gun, three gun matches, or you haven't heard of any?
Other than local club matches, matches that are put on by various shooting ranges, I'm not familiar with another organization such as us that goes to
Hmm.
the extent that we do to put on these matches.
Okay. And so your website, guys, what is your website?
www.dssmatch.com.
dssmatch.com. Okay.
We have a
Um,
Facebook page, and you can just Google DSS as well, Dynamic Sport Shooting, and we'll show up there.
So I'll make sure to have all these down in the link below. So if you guys want to go see the matches and see the links and everything. Now in the US, they do shoot three gun matches. Are they kind of similar? I mean, obviously with the current changes of gun laws, but before that, were they kind of similar format?
Well, even to this day, they're relatively the same format wise. We're still using the same props, walls, and dueling trees and Texas stars, and basically whatever we possibly can bring out just to make it a little bit more exciting for the shooter. We still do quite a bit of stuff that you do see on the American style three gun circuit. So
Okay.
keeps it
And I've
fun.
seen some of the videos you guys are doing. You guys are like, carrying a dummy or like doing some weights, and then after that, going to shoot. That's still part of DSS.
It's a part of DSS, but think of it as an add-on. That's our Spartan division. So once,
Hmm.
maybe twice a year, we'll have a Spartan match. So the individuals that choose to run the Spartan class, they have a physical element to the course of fire, and that could be anything from pounding railroad spikes into wood, going on a long run, and then coming back doing 15 burpees. Single-handedly shooting with your pistol while holding a weight straight up in the air like this, it doesn't end. And of course, based on the match director and how he or she is feeling that day, they may make it brutal or relatively easier matches. But we've had some that were absolutely grueling. And again, it just adds that other element of proficiency where you're physically and mentally exhausted, plus have to perform at a level that's safe for everybody around you as well, right? So we
Yeah.
don't sacrifice speed or physical ability for safety in any way, shape, or form. At the end of the day, we just all want to go home and know that we had a fun time. But yes, that is another element to what we do with DSS, the Spartan division.
And your matches run summer and winter or only summer?
Primarily summer, early winter. When it gets, we typically shut it down October, November. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
we'll throw in a December match, weather pending. But a couple of the ranges that we need to get to are quite hard to get there in the winter. So for
Mm-hmm.
safety concerns, we have a couple months hiatus before we pick it back up in the spring.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And any other type of shooting have you done or competitions that you did even once or twice?
I've never competed in in IPSC. That was the one venture I've never done. I've done some speed steel, just some local club matches, speed steel. A lot of fun. Very very quick turnaround time where you're up on target, you shoot 5 or 6 pieces of steel, and then of course a stop plate, and you do that two, three, 4 times. Um, Not something that I do very often, but again, it's an opportunity to work on the fundamentals and get the basics down, right? So I do enjoy some speed steel every now and again.
Yeah, IPSC is one of the things that I really wanted to get to, but I never had the chance. And I sort of like invested my hobby money in PRS mainly. And that's an
Yeah, yeah,
expensive place to put your money. So I think I'm going to hold on that for now.
yeah.
It's also like there is a lot of different types of matches. Even when you look in like precision shooting, there's like a sniper spotter matches, like two-man matches. There's like the NRL, PRS. There's other ones that I have seen. There was like a lot of walking and shooting at the same time. Um,
Hunter matches, yeah.
which ones are they?
Hunter match. So a hunter match
Hunter,
is
yeah.
is you're basically told this is your arc of fire, and you're basically told what you're looking for. You have no idea where the targets are, and on the buzzer you take out your binoculars or whatever it is you're going to be looking through to find your targets, range your targets, collect your data, and make an engagement or make a hit with a given time limit. So it adds again just a whole nother level of complexity where you're doing all those little things on the clock. Whereas in PRS, typically you have a bit of time to kind of figure out where everything is, collect your data, figure out where you need to set your scope and your turrets before getting up to your turn and then performing.
Hmm.
So it's just, again, adds a whole nother element to the game, right?
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm really happy that there's this much of competitions or these kind of different competitions. But like you said, it's a little bit hard to know what's out there if you don't ask or if if you don't do your research a little bit.
You know what? My biggest barrier to entry was just knowing what was available. And I wish there was someone who could have kind of broke it down and explained to me what I didn't know when I was looking. That's why I love it when people ask questions. I'm the first person to try to help people get into this community because it is such a welcoming community and everybody is there for one another, just of course to have a good time. But yes,
Yeah.
it can be intimidating as well, going up to people and asking, "Hey, what are you doing at the range?" Last week we were doing some NRL 22 practice at the range and we had all kinds of tables and buckets and tripods set up and just weird things that we were shooting off of, and everybody were looking at us like we were nuts, and we're like, come on over guys, come talk to us, and we explained what we were doing, what this is all about, let a couple guys shoot my 22, and again, just it's just sharing the wealth of knowledge that people have and getting more like-minded individuals interested in this because that's what we need more so than anything right now. So I love letting people shoot my firearms, giving them a little spiel as to what we do and why we do it, and hopefully get that next generation of shooters prepped for competitions ahead, right?
Absolutely. It's a good point that you brought because I'm thinking now my barrier to entry was I knew that I wanted to compete. Like I had a rifle, I have done some sort of precision shooting, a little bit of a long range shooting, but I just didn't know where to look for matches. Like I just didn't know where to look. And I kept asking people until somebody like pointed me to a practice court and he was like, just go there and look for the matches that are closest to you. Um, so I felt like it was a little bit challenging to know where are the matches. Like I knew I just wanted to compete, but I didn't know where to go.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. Before the days of practice score, all we really had was email signups, right? We would ask to be subscribed to an email list and the email would be sent out that there's a match going on. But then, of course, you're trying to sift through 300 people to figure out who's the guy that can add your email to the list. It was a bit of a pain, right? Having something like practice score or even impact scoring, which is
Yeah,
a new way of signing up for matches, has been very easy and user friendly to kind of see what matches are in your area and know what's coming up. So it's been a lot. I think we're doing a lot better the last 5, 6, 7 years with all this,
yeah.
and hopefully getting as many people interested in this as we can.
And I feel like if you tell a lot of people like that don't have firearms that you don't just have firearms, you're a competitive shooter, and you explain to them a little bit what kind of competitive shooting you do, it gets it more interesting because I think A lot of people think you just own a firearm, you go to the range, you shoot, I don't know, 50 rounds, and then you go home. They don't understand how deep this can go and how interesting it can become, right? While safe, obviously.
Exactly. I've had people ask me, "Hey, Adam, how many firearms do you own?" And I just kind of smile and say, enough to do all the different disciplines that I enjoy doing. What that number is none of your business, but it's a few. And, I have a firearm for three gun. I have a shotguns for three gun. I have rifles for three gun. I got pistols for three gun. I have NRL builds. I have PRS builds, center fire, and 22. I mean, and then people go, "Oh, I get it. Like he's out there competing, practicing, just having fun in a very lawful manner. So what's the difference if it's one or if it's 30, right? It's what
Yeah.
we like to do. We're not harming anybody and we're putting money into the economy. We're helping our local suppliers and our retailers out there with ammunition and what have you and having a good time doing it. So we're truly not hurting anybody, right?
Yeah, exactly. When you explain it like this, when you say I have like 25 guns because I do these kind of different competitive or competitions, is different than you just say I have 25 guns and you stop. And people, especially in Canada, do not really understand the firearms, yeah, culture, I
Totally.
guess, or sports and things like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's just education, right? People are
Yeah,
ignorant to what they don't know, and if I can put someone's mind at ease as to why I have as many firearms as I do in a 3-minute conversation with all the different things that I do and explain it, maybe I can spark some interest and, get them out to the range once or twice, right?
yeah, and that's one of the things why like I really like the 22 LR matches because 22 is, well, it's still expensive to get in, but it's much cheaper to get in. It's there's many more matches that are closer to you because the distances are smaller, so people can compete, and that invites people from outside to like getting into shooting and firearms a little more.
Very much so. And now that we have production class as well, you can pick up a production class firearm and a scope under a certain dollar amount and still compete effectively in production class, right? And it just brings more people in that don't have to spend thousands upon thousands of dollars on for let's say an open gun if they don't want to.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. All right,
Yeah.
Adam, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your experience. For our listeners, if you have competed in any other matches in Canada and that are still competitions that are still open for this kind of shooting, let us know in the comments down below. And if you can include any links to like the matches or the organizations that do them, please do so. Adam, thanks again.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening. Until the next one.